And what is up, my geeks? My name is DroidRider, and welcome to another action figure review. I hope you guys are doing great right now. So in today's video, we're going to be taking a closer look at the McFarlane Toys DC Multiverse Power Girl. But however, this here is a McFarlane Collector Edition, as you can see. Notice because of the silver line over there. At the side of the box, it just says number 31 in the series. Of course, with the DC Multiverse packaging, you know, a big window box. We have Power Girl on the right side. We have some accessories, and we also have not only just Power Girl, but as you guys can see in the box, we also have Streaky, the cat, the super cat. The other side of the box is just McFarlane Collector Edition Power Girl Reborn. And the back of the box is just some like really awesome like Power Girl artwork, as you can see. It says it's Power Girl Reborn, so I'm assuming, yeah, from the artwork, I'm assuming. At the bottom of the box is just like legal information, and there's a barcode, well, for those who wants it. I've never known that McFarlane would ever make a Power Girl action figure, but hey, they at least finally made one. At first, I thought that McFarlane was never gonna make a Power Girl action figure because of like they would pretty much get in trouble for inappropriate stuff or anything like that. But yeah, they finally have made a Power Girl action figure. I don't know when was the last time they ever made a Power Girl action figure, honestly, but I really do not know. So I'm actually excited to open this. I actually had to pay a lot of money for this, and yeah, I actually ended up paying a lot of money, but hopefully it's actually really worth it for this. I haven't been collecting these McFarlane collector edition figures, but what else? So let me just have everything set up, and I'll see you guys in the next scene. Alright everybody, we have Power Girl out of the package, and we have everything properly organized. I gotta say that this Power Girl action figure looks incredible so far. This is the Power Girl action figure that a lot of people have been waiting for, and so do I. Pretty much that if anyone are actually big fans of the Superman or pretty much of Power Girl, I gotta say that you would certainly love this figure so much. Not a lot of quite of accessories, but it's still pretty cool that you have, you know, Power Girl. First, I want to show the accessories, and then later we'll focus on the figure. So first I want to showcase is, of course, the DC stand. You know, you're pretty much your typical McFarlane Toys figure stand with the logo, the DC logo, but except this is silver. Why? Because of course the McFarlane Collector Edition thing. And next I want to showcase is the trading card. And like I said, yeah, it's similar to like the one from the back of the box, you know, really fantastic artwork. And we have like the silver McFarlane Collector Edition. And over there in the back, it just says Power Girl Reborn, as you guys can see. If I could take a closer look at it. The data file, pretty much the information about Power Girl. So her name is pretty much Kara Zor-El or Karen Starr. So pause here if you guys want to read this. So Power Girl is kind of basically like Supergirl, but however, Supergirl and Power Girl are not basically the exact same characters. I mean, they do have like similar origins. They pretty much have like the same powers and abilities. Power Girl is pretty much like the superhero from Earth 2, from a different like universe. Meanwhile, Supergirl is pretty much like the superhero from Earth 1, the Kryptonian hero from Earth. So pretty much Power Girl and Supergirl pretty much have like different like history between the characters. This is everything I need to talk about Power Girl, so that is pretty much the info. Now moving to the accessories, Power Girl is going to have two different sets of interchangeable hands. First set of hands I want to showcase is the closed hands, or just like pair of fists. And last set of hands is just like the trigger finger hands, or just like accessory holding hands, whatever you prefer. And last I want to showcase is Streaky the Super Cat. And I gotta say, this is like a really cool accessory that they actually included on this action figure. So if you guys can see, the eyes are like printed. If I can try to focus, okay, there you guys have it. This wasn't focusing properly. The nose, the eyes are actually printed. I think the ears are actually like colored in, I think. Or printed. No, I think it's like the ears are pretty much like I think painted, I'm assuming. So under like Streaky's neck, we see like they also sculpted like a Superman symbol, the S symbol. They actually did also like sculpted like paws on each like little like paws, as you can see. Except that this one is actually colored at the very end. Meanwhile, the other ones are actually not like colored. I don't know what happened there. So the each stomach on Streaky side, we can see like there's also like printed lightning bolts on each side, as you can see the other ones over there, and also very interesting sculpting on the tail as well. This is how much cape Streaky has, and also has the S symbol on the back of the cape. It's just a simple like cloth material, so you know, really good. No wires unfortunately, so yeah, that is all you're gonna be getting from Streaky the Super Cat. So the accessory that she comes with, not a lot of accessories, but she only comes with 2 different sets of interchangeable hands, and she also comes with like of course Streaky the Super Cat, which is also really cool. But unfortunately I do not have the Superman that has crypto in it. It's just like the McFarlane collector edition, and they're kind of hard to find, but I don't have much of the collector edition figures, but there's that. So now that we're taking a closer look at every accessory that she comes with, we're gonna be taking a closer look at the figure. So first off, I want to say that her head sculpt, it looks quite incredible though. I gotta say that it's like way better than the Supergirl, the one with that she comes with like this cloth cape. But I really do like the sculpting on her hair though. It's just a lot of sculpting, and you know, not a lot of like paint details. She doesn't have like any like paint details as far as what I'm saying here, but I really do like the sculpting on her hair though. I really do like the face sculpting on this figure as well. I gotta say it's like way better than the Supergirl. Her hair color is pretty much like a light yellow, like a bright yellow. I know it looks like yellow as you guys are seeing like close up, but it's actually more like a bright yellow on her hair. I know it looks like completely like yellow. Now the sculpting on the golden strap is all the way from here where it's like close to her chest, all the way to where like the back is. As you can see, like if we take a closer look at the back, just pretty much goes all the way where her arm is, through all the way, of course, like where close to her chest. Kind of has like this little like golden pad that she always has. I don't know what you would call this piece. And of course, well, she's commonly known for the sculpting of her chest as well. They actually did a really great job on that. By the way, her chest is actually like colored rather than just being like a separate sculpted piece, but it's actually like painted, as you can see from her like her chest window as from her suit. By the way, this diaper part or whatever it's called, the diaper part, I gotta talk about her belt though. It's actually part of her the diaper part. I don't know what you would call this, but it's actually painted on red paint, as you guys can see. On each side, you can see that where the blue gloves are, and on the top of the wrist joint, there's also like sculpted like wrinkles, as you can see. And her hands are just like open hands, as you guys can see. Interesting sculpting on the hands, and this is how her hands looks like in the front. And the cape is just, of course, a cloth, just wired, like pretty much an entire wired, like all around the cape, through here, from over there in the bottom, all the way to the other side on top here. So this is how much cape she's gonna be getting. Now the sculpting of her thighs are the exact same as Wonder Woman, pretty much the exact same sculpting from back and also from front. And as for her boots, it does have like interesting sculpting on her boots. On each side of her boots are gonna have like these yellow buttons with like little straps sculpted. This is how her boots looks like in the side, and she is of course gonna have treads in her boots and peg holes as well. By the way, I also noticed that she is not gonna have like toe articulation, which is really interesting though. I gotta say I really like the proportions of this figure, and including the sculpting and details that they put into a lot of effort. She doesn't have a lot of like painted details, but the sculpting is actually, you know, pretty fantastic. And as for the wired cape, the wires are pretty much thick, but she is gonna have a little bit of like cape, as you guys can see, because, well, of course, it's a smaller cape. So overall, I gotta say the proportions and the sculpting of this figure is just far incredible. Now that we're taking a closer look at the accessories, including the presentation of this figure, it's time to take a closer look at the articulation to see how poseable she is. I was fiddling around with this figure with the articulation, and I want to say the articulation is actually incredible. So I want to showcase everything to you all what she can actually do. First up, I want to show up her head. Her head can pretty much look up this much, and she can look down this much. She is going to have a huge amount of tilting, as you guys can see, and she can also look all the way around. She can raise her arm this far up, and interesting enough, it's because this little like golden pad thing doesn't get in the way, because I forgot to mention that in the presentation that this thing is made of like a soft plastic. So yeah, it doesn't get in the way. She is gonna have a rotator cuff, so she is gonna have a lot of movement on the arm. She does have a bicep swivel, double jointed elbows, and this is how far she can only bend. She does have a ball jointed wrist, and the wrist can pretty much do a lot of like movement. Her wrist can pretty much move either like at side to side, if you guys can see, up and down, and can of course twist all the way around. Unfortunately, she doesn't have a torso articulation, but she can pretty much move a lot of like movement on her upper body. She is gonna have like a huge amount of tilting. She can arch this back much, but also really be careful because this part can also really bend, as you guys can see, and you know, please be careful on that. And she can arch front this much. But however, of course, beware of this gap over there. She does have like a huge amount of movement. She doesn't have a much of a thigh swivel. She can kick about this far, and she can split her leg this far. She is gonna have double jointed knees. She is gonna have a ball jointed ankle. She can pretty much move like a up and down. She can pretty much move her ankles like a side to side. She can do a tilt, and she does have a pivot system. The articulation of the action figure is actually quite great. It doesn't really like seems to damage the figure how much you are actually bending it, or how much you're actually either like doing a twist or something. However, the only problem that I only had is actually the gap on her back, as you guys saw. But I do gotta say that the articulation is actually quite great, honestly. For a scale and size comparison, I'm only going to be bringing the McFarlane DC Multiverse figures. I wanted to bring first Supergirl because you can totally see the size in the height comparison. One of the things that people have been noticing of McFarlane is actually the scaling height comparison. I'm showing you guys the Action Comics 1000 Superman. This is a gold label because of the wired cape that Superman has. You can see that the total height difference is that Superman is actually way smaller than Power Girl, which I'm pretty sure that Superman has to be, you know, much taller. I have the Injustice 2 Superman, and you can see by the height comparison, it's a big of a difference. Next, I wanted to bring up the Con-El Superboy. For a scaling height in female characters, I want to bring the Batgirl from the Art of the Crime. I'm not sure if the height is supposed to be right. I'm not quite sure. For another Batman character, here's Punchline. And last in this comparison, I wanted to bring everybody's favorite female superhero, Wonder Woman. And wow, I can see a huge amount of difference in sizes in this one. Wonder Woman just almost reaching the same height as Power Girl. Anyways guys, that's gonna be the end of this video. I hope you guys enjoyed it. I want to say that this Power Girl action figure is just incredible. I mean, there's not a lot Power Girl action figures out there, but this is just one of the most like newest Power Girl action figures I've ever gotten. Not only you get Power Girl, but you also get, of course, Streaky the Super Cat, which is also like a really great accessory in action figures. And if you guys are Superman fans, this is a must-have, obviously. But the only little itty-bitty thing that I have with this action figure is of course the height, which I'm not sure is she supposed to be taller or not, but it doesn't really matter anymore to me. This Power Girl action figure that I have is actually the 1976 outfit design, because the collector edition is actually like a more modern Power Girl, which I actually do not have, and I don't think I will be getting it because of course it's a lot of money. It's ridiculous. But like I said again, that's going to be the end of this video. Now if you guys are new, be sure to click subscribe to become part of the Geek Squad so you cannot miss any videos I upload. So yeah, my name is DroidRider, and I say goodbye.